Next, we will hear from Tomas Hedenborg speak about the future of manufacturing industries from a Finnish perspective, and in particular, the knowledge-based economy and further development of its innovation capabilities to drive the industrial internet into supporting new innovative business models. Mr. Hedenborg has served as CEO of various companies, and I refer you to the nice brochure for the bios. I would encourage you to read these. These people have very interesting backgrounds. I'm most recently the group CEO at Fastems. He has a Master's of Science in Automotive Technology and Combustion Engines and started his career in the automotive industry. Tomas has been involved in founding the Finnish Metals and Engineering Competence Cluster and has been a board member since the beginning. Since 2013, he is chairman of the board of that group. Tomas?
Thank you, Dan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to address this distinctive audience here in Milan. And I'll open by saying that I'll be attempting a world record here this morning. Dan was seriously doubting if it's possible to flip through 43 slides in 20 minutes. Firstly, a few words about Fastems. Fastems is a factory automation specialist, so this is typically what you would see us delivering to our customers all over the world, our main markets being Western Europe and North America, and of course with the emerging markets becoming more and more important for us. So a lot of very sophisticated hardware you see here. But the core of our business is creating customer value and being very conscious about why and how this value can be created with our automation solutions. And despite the very impressive hardware that you saw in the first picture, what really creates the value in our case is process, knowledge and know-how and software. So this is already the reality of our business today. More than 2/3 of our engineers are software and control engineers. So that's a little bit about Fastems and the background. I'll then make a very short recap, a very unorthodox view on the post-war history of Finland. And I'm sure the real historians would oppose to some of the conclusions and statements I make here. But let's make it short and focused. So the post-war history of Finland has been marked by a row of crises and the opportunities arising out of those crises. And today Finland is one of the few, I think in fact 5 AAA rated economies in Europe. So one can easily draw the conclusion that this series of crises and the opportunities that have been utilized have been successful. So after the war, Finland was in a heavy phase of industrialization. It was triggered by the post-war necessity. The geopolitical reality then led us to building a very strong relationship with our eastern neighbor, again, because of the necessity. And at this stage, it was the strong mechanical engineering industry that was enabling this development. Then came the fall of the Soviet Union, which then triggered a serious economical crisis and which required huge structural changes to recover and build the successful AAA economy that we still have today. In recent years, we have seen the rise and the fall of Nokia, which has been of remarkable impact for the Finnish economy. And I think what we will be seeing in the next couple of years is the rise of Phoenix from the ashes, but it will be a different Nokia that will be rising from there. At the same time, big players in our mechanical engineering industries have moved their production to closer to the markets and also trying to profit from the low-cost countries' potential. So Finland is still a AAA economy, but struggling with huge structural changes related to demographics, of course, but also related to the SME part of our economy, lacking the customers who have now moved out of the country. So we will be needing a lot of innovation to bring us out of this most recent crisis. I'll be using the outcome and results from a study that was made very recently by the Research Institute of Finnish Economy on the behalf of the Federation of Finnish Technology Industries. We tried to develop a kind of a vision for 2025, looking at where should the Finnish metal and engineering industries be going, and what would be the success factors that we can build this vision on. We'll start by looking at the changing operational environment, and this goes back to some of the things that have been showed by previous speakers this morning. Firstly, Asia reclaims its natural position, so there's just been a small historical disturbance of 150 years, but now China is coming back and regaining a balance that we had some close to 200 years ago. The growth gravitates to the east and to the south, so this was the situation in 2000. This is how the world will look at the end of this decade. So the growth is taking place in the southern hemisphere and in the east. The weight of the developing countries is increasing, so the projection is that in 2025 the developing economies will have gained considerable part of the world GDP, and the losing economies are amongst all the US and Japan, whereas the Eurozone more or less maintains its position. But one should also remember that at the same time the total GDP grows by 2/3, so we're talking about a much bigger cake. 3 billion new consumers are entering the middle class by 2030. And still there remains a lot of room for catching up, because despite this increase in GDP per capita, the BRIC countries still are far behind the old economies. People moved to the cities. 1975, year 2000, year 2025. The computing power increases, so these pictures show an explosion, and we are probably now at the limits of what those current technologies can produce. And at the same time, the data networks worldwide, connecting the continents, connecting the consumers, connecting the industries, has developed at a huge pace. And the investments in undersea cables gained pace again at the beginning of this decade, and huge investments are being made at the moment. And this, of course, leads to the bandwidth increasing in an exponential pace. So, what conclusions can we draw out of this regarding the future production? The utilization of information technologies increases. This is pretty obvious. And automation, flexible manufacturing, it's not only because I'm representing that area that I say that. I think it is pretty obvious. Robotization. My company just a few months ago brought in the market a plug-and-play robot cell. It's installable in 10 minutes and can be run by an operator who has no basic skills in programming robots. It's made for lathes. Smart factories and the industrial internet will be running this. The industrial robots are developing at huge pace, and they are becoming not only growing in numbers, but also growing in their capabilities. The Industrial Revolution, Industrie 4.0, if you want to use the German term for this, is already ongoing, and I think, like with many revolutions that history has seen, it doesn't happen overnight, but it is rather a series of events that will range over quite a long period of time. But we are already entering the fourth phase. And the industrial internet creates opportunities. And the opportunities, in our view, lay pretty much on the industrial services side or business model innovation side. So where will the production of the future take place? We have heard a lot about this morning, and I will try to add some views on this. Firstly, we are now looking at the time span which ranges from before the economic crisis all the way to 2011. And we are looking at the metal industries and the mechanical engineering industries and electrical engineering. What these images show, now here we're looking at the value added in current prices, shows that in 3 of these segments, Europe has maintained its position. The losers in this game have been US and Japan. The only area where Europe has had a major loss in shares is in electrical, electronic, and optical products. If we looked at this in terms of trade streams, so the export of goods, and in the EU figure here, the intra-EU export is excluded. The picture is pretty much reconfirmed and shows the same as the value-added picture. Europe has maintained or even strengthened its position in these areas. Now, when we talk about EU 27, I think it's pretty obvious that within that picture, the German economy has played an extremely important role. If in 2000 Germany was the sick man of Europe, today the German economy and the German mechanical engineering industries are certainly something like the engine of the European economy. And to demonstrate this a little bit and also bring in the Finnish perspective, these are the imports of intermediates to Germany, both for fabricated metal products and machinery and equipment. And from a Finnish perspective, we have to pretty much be ashamed because we have not been able to play any significant role in this game so far. And it is quite obvious that this is strongly linked to the lack of capability of our SMEs to go for international business and target their efforts to doing business with the winners, with the winner being Germany in this case. So there is a lot to gain for Finland in promoting innovation and market efforts to put Finland on the German map as a provider of intermediates. What kind of products? Firstly, it's a fact that commodities and energy will remain expensive, so that will be driving the development. New lighter materials, new manufacturing methods, new driving power solutions, and the increasing use of information technologies. A few pictures to demonstrate what it could all be about. New materials that lighten structures, the additive manufacturing advances which enable us not only to copy and duplicate what we do today with traditional methods, but develop completely new product concepts and logistic chain concepts. Not replacing, but adding to traditional methods. The new driving power alternatives that are emerging and becoming market feasible. Machines becoming more intelligent, information technology helping us to improve not only energy efficiency but also ergonomics, usability, capability of our machines. I mentioned specifically the image in the lower left corner. That's a forestry machine made by the Finnish company Ponsse, one of the world leaders in this area. The new machine called Scorpion has a unique concept of keeping the cabin always in a horizontal position, but also increasing radically the productivity of the machine in the forest. More than 80% of the engineering hours spent in developing and innovating this new machine were by software engineers. So, arriving at some conclusions and getting closer to the Finnish perspective. First of all, there is a wide and versatile market for products. The metal and engineering industry has customers in most lines of businesses. This is how the picture looked in 2012 for this industry. So it's not only industry, it's also the mining, oil and gas, it's agriculture, it's trading, warehousing, it's construction, it's utilities. So the use of machines and equipment is addressed to a very, very broad marketplace. The competitive situation is changing. The competitive advantage of economies like China is not anymore as radical as it would have been some 10 years ago. And I think more than the question of the cost of labor, I think we have a question of the availability of skilled forces. Automation is one way of reducing the need of labor, but at the same time it drives the need for highly skilled labor forces. So there is more to it than labor costs, and I'm not going to read out loud all the words and the terms that we see in this picture, but you will find quite a few reasons why production is returning back to the US and to Europe within these. And some of this has been mentioned already by previous speakers this morning. The understanding that production and services are synergistic. We do not have the most favorable geographic location, so we cannot build on the argument of production having to be close to the customer or the user of the technologies, but we can put more emphasis on the innovation part of that rationale. Finland is a suitable location for many kinds of businesses because we do have an extremely well-developed and productive innovation system. The changes happening around us will call for strategic choices, and many SMEs, many mid-caps are faced with strategic choices, and out of that menu of different options and possibilities, I myself I'm apart from being CEO of Fastems, I'm also involved in a very typical SME company which is developing from being a typical subcontractor to now being a system supplier to one of the big players operating in Finland. And this has been achieved by this kind of strategic choices to help the company enter the next phase of development. So the building blocks for the Finnish success story of the future are the following four. Firstly, we have a strong tradition and very deep know-how in the metal products and mechanical engineering areas. Secondly, we have a very strong infrastructure and strong know-how in the ICT sector. This is not at least to be contributed to the success story of Nokia, which has left us with huge potential in this area. Third thing, our innovation system and the capability of innovating, which has a proven track record and which is undergoing serious renewal, which is showing first success as we speak. And the fourth element, the opportunities in industrial services. So the success of the Finnish metal and engineering industry will be building on these four blocks and specifically the combination of these four. Thank you very much.